So I just wanted to, are you guys all familiar with occupational therapy? And if you guys have had that or experienced it. So today we're just going to talk about what we do and then how you might access services with adults to, you know, since you're an adult, not so much. I usually work with children a little bit, so we'll figure out some things that can support you guys a little bit more. And I just have to disclose that I'm going to give you some websites and some things. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm going to give you some websites and different things to access, but I don't get any financial gain from that. So just have to let you know that. So one of the things that occupational therapists work with is sensory integration, and that's where we help individuals of any age work on how they respond to their sensory environment and how that can support them a little bit during, you know, whenever you're at work or things like that. So do you guys have any issues with anxiety ever? Okay, so we'll probably spend a lot of time on that if you want to, and I have some cool gadgets that work pretty well. So one of the things that we do in occupational therapy is we use sensory supports to help calm your nervous system when you get anxious. And it usually ends up being a specific program that an occupational therapist can design for you. So it wouldn't be that, you know, we'd give you all one thing to do and then that's going to work for everybody. It's not like a one size, you know, one fit all thing, but we go through that as well. So you can have sensitivities in your tactile system, so how your clothes feel on your body, whether or not you like to wash your hair, whether you're not or not you like to get your hair cut, that kind of stuff. You can have sensitivities to movement. When you go to like a really loud event, I don't know if your dance was loud or if that bothered anybody from an auditory standpoint, but that can be another thing. And what happens is you just get takes your nervous system and it makes it into a really heightened response. And so then what happens inside your brain and your body is you get really over responsive. And so then everything is hard and you get irritable. So we'll go through that a little bit. So when I say here salient versus non-salient information, we all have the ability to habituate. Like we're going to have to habituate the clapping that just happened over there, right? And if you're super sensitive, you might hear the fan and you might have to habituate to that, right? So there's different things that we all learn, and what happens is that sometimes our sensory system is so heightened that there's no way we can habituate all those things, and so then it keeps firing, right? And when it keeps firing, then we just listen to everything and get upset about it, and you can get more irritable. So in occupational therapy, we use sensory, we use movement, tactile, and proprioception. And is everybody familiar with that term at all? So proprioception is your pull on your joints and your muscles. And what happens is, like when you go running or exercising, do you guys feel calm afterwards? Okay, so what happened with that is you released a neurotransmitter inside your joints, and that went to your brain and produced a calming effect. So that's why exercise is so helpful. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. And we want what's called an adaptive response, and that's just pretty much the ability that you can go to any environment and be calm and regulated, okay? So in occupational therapy, we will also look at, this is kind of the neural sensory pathways that we think about when we think about sensory processing. And we will be looking at posture and ocular control, being able to use your eyes and hands together for fine motor, for daily living tasks, driving a car, those kind of things. We look at discrimination, and that's related to your ability to discriminate auditory input, tactile input, movement, that kind of thing. and whether or not you get upset by it or whether or not it changes throughout your day. And if it changes in a good way, that's cool. But if it doesn't, and it changes that you're overreactive a lot of times, then that causes you to have more stress. And more stress isn't really good on our brains, right? Because we don't want to function in that way. So we take a look at that. Modulation is a term that we use to describe that when you're in different environments, you have the ability to discriminate and modulate that sensory input. So sometimes Chuck E. Cheese would be a good example. It's crazy, right? I mean, and you don't go there. I mean, most people don't. I mean, but they can do that. And so you have to really learn to figure out if you're gonna like that environment and be able to adapt and calm when you're in there, okay? And this is a really nice graph that we use in occupational therapy. So when you think about, you start your day and say you have a little bit of stress going on, and maybe you're in college or something and you have a big test coming up and you've studied but you're not sure. So we're gonna it stacks up, right? So it would be that you're studying for the test, you're a little bit nervous about it, not sure if you studied enough. Then say the car breaks down, okay? So you add that. And that's kind of what this bottom row symbolizes down here. And then let's say the favorite shirt you wanted to wear is not there. So now you have to wear an itchy shirt, okay? You're already, I mean, most of us are already kind of going, I don't know, I think I'm right here. I'm not in this optimal range anymore. I think I'm kind of heading up here. And then let's say that you got the car fixed, everything's cool, but then you go and you forgot a pencil, right? And you can't take the test or you have to reschedule it. I mean, we all have different things that just pile up. And so what happens is that generally, most of us in the morning wake up and we're in this low arousal state, and arousal is your ability to attend and adapt to sensory events over time. And we want to, so some of us, we might use like coffee to wake up in the morning. We might do exercise or something like that, but that gets us kind of up to this optimal range. And then as those sensory events happen throughout the day, we oftentimes see that it just builds, right? And it can build into this upper range, which isn't so great. And if we don't have good skills to know how to calm our body back down to that optimal range, we're gonna stay up here and we might be in this sensory overload range. And you don't necessarily wanna be there all the time. So that's one of the things, how we look at the sensory issues in pretty much adults and kids as well. And this is a nice slide that just talks about, it kind of is related to your personality types. So a lot of the sensory questionnaires that occupational therapists will use, there's one called the sensory profile, and we do more than just a questionnaire, but that might be something we have you fill out, and it's actually related to temperament. So this is a slide that kind of talks about temperament sometimes, and when we talk about valence, that's when something is pleasant, you like that sensory input, or it's unpleasant. And then you want arousal, where you're gonna get to this optimal range where you can function and you can handle the sensory input around you, or you're too much in a low arousal area and that's too hard for you, okay? So you can look at some personality things to kind of see where you are, because it does correlate a lot, and the Myers-Briggs is a good one. So do you guys use different sensory input now to calm yourself down if you need to? Does anybody want to share? Oh, good, yeah, that's a great one. And music might work for you, but it might not work for another person. So you need to kind of figure out all those things as well. So all that information comes into the brain, it gets processed, and then we act on it on the frontal lobe. Sensory input comes in and goes to every center of the brain. So that's why it's so powerful, and that's why we can use it when we need to. So when you get stressed, you can get, you know, you want to be in this optimal range, but when you get anxious, then it's hard to, you know, you just can't hold on to all those thoughts that you wanted to, right? And you actually have to kind of stop, or you get debilitated by it to a degree, right? That you just actually, you know, some people actually have to lay down and not be able to interact, and that's when you get disorganization and when you're in that high state. So we look at coping skills, and one of those things is about how we respond to stress, how we adapt, and we design special programs for you. We talk about interoception, and that's a big buzzword that's been out for years. I mean, we've known that 20 years ago, but everybody's bringing it back out. And this person has a book about it, and it might be a good read. It's a little bit towards understanding inside your own body. So one of the things is the first time when you get stressed, it starts out in your tummy a lot of times, or it'll be your head, or you'll feel sweaty palms, those kind of things. And what I do is I work with everybody to figure out where does it start first. You know, we'll develop, oh, it starts in my tummy and then it goes up here. Okay, so when I don't necessarily focus on the situation that caused it, but I focus on you're feeling stressed now. Let's figure out what we can do about it. And then we implement a sensory strategy in place of that when it first happens, right? So that you can implement a calming strategy so that it doesn't go systemically throughout your whole body. And we work on those things as well. So it's about understanding that in the awareness inside. A lot of people don't even understand when they get hungry, you know, and a lot of people don't understand pain and regulation and those kind of things. So we help to develop that emotional regulation as well. And this is just another slide to talk about that window of tolerance. If you're in that overload range, you can get more reactive. You might snap verbally at somebody. You might have impulsive, aggressive thought, you know, not thoughts, but just, you know, that's when your nervous system is just having a hard time. And that's really when our sympathetic system is just out of control. And when we have low activation in our parasympathetic, in our nervous system, that's when we're tired, we can't function, those kind of things. So we really want to be in that optimal range. This would be a sensory diet kind of template, if you will, that an occupational therapist would work with you on, and we would design specific activities in the morning. Like what we might do is offer some oral sensory input. So if you're stressed out or you need to get regulated in the morning, the oral system on the brain is really mapped out in a large area, so we know it works really well. So you can try to chew more than one piece of gum, 3 pieces of gum. That gives a lot of chewing. You might try some crunchy foods, some chewy foods in the morning, drinking from a straw, those kind of things, different savory tastes that work as well. And then we might also work on in the morning, like doing some exercise, some heavy work, so you prep your body in a way to get that calming, those calming neurotransmitters up there to your brain so that you're okay. You know, for me today, it helped me to go for a run this morning. I knew I was going to speak, and I was like, I'm just going to do it and get it out of the way. So that helped, you know, to be calm, and it really does work. Then you can also, you know, we might do some different things throughout the day, and some people have a hard time going to bed at night. I'm one of those people that my brain just does not shut off very much. And so some, you know, with kids, what we do sometimes is like a weighted blanket. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard about that, but we will actually use those to kind of give that deep pressure touch on your tactile and motor system to calm down. You might think of listening to music. They always say that in terms of light, like if there's a light on, I think the wattage of the bulb when they do the sleep analysis is that it has to be 4 watts or below to not disrupt your circadian rhythms. So That's not very much, right? So if you think about that, we disrupt that like all the time, you know, so that's a good one too. These are some resources that work pretty well. This one is, you know, I would use it as an adult for, it's an anxiety scale. And so it has cards and it has situations that you could read and look at and then rate on a 5 scale. And if you're not sure what makes you anxious, you could actually do this with yourself or with a therapist. And the ones that you get on the 4 and 5, you know, you want to be aware of, and then you know, okay, those are some areas I can work on. And then we would work on coping strategies with that too. This one is kind of related to an anger management thing, and these are used, this one particularly is used with kids with autism a little bit, or adults. And this program is a CD, and it just gives the color coding of when to slow down, when to stop. And so you could, you know, I like it for the color piece because then you could rate what issue you had, you know, whether you felt it was a green, which is okay, whether you felt like it slowed you down, or if it was too intense and you just couldn't handle that situation. So it might give you some increased awareness. And here's another program too about just kind of helps you to figure out where you are. A lot of times when we're stressed out, we're not able to verbalize in that moment. I mean, how many times have you been stressed out and somebody says, well, just calm down. What's wrong? Can't you just tell me? No way, you can't, because your autonomic nervous system is going crazy. So sometimes having a visual thing right there to say, I'm right here, and then, you know, have an agreed upon plan that maybe there's no talking when I get there, and you can use a sensory strategy or something to calm down. So let's move. Okay, so we'll talk about executive functioning skills. And this is just the definitions of them. That, you know, our working memory is the ability to hold the information. When we get stressed out, we can't hold the information. There's no way. So we need to keep our stress levels down the best way we can, and that will help our emotional control, and that'll help us initiate tasks and give that sustained attention. So planning and organization, occupational therapists work with that a whole lot. So we may work on ways to sequence tasks using different cue systems or things like that if you guys have troubles with any of that. We also help with time management and for big projects and those kind of things. We also look at problem solving, goal-directed activity, and flexibility. A lot of times it's really easy to get hung up when a mistake has happened and not really know how to make it different. And so sometimes an outsider looking at it can come in and say, hey, have you tried it this way? This might be something that would work. Or you guys can come up with the idea together through therapy. They've been saying that it takes 5 to 7 repetitions to learn things. Some of the people I work with, it can take more. I don't think the number much matters, but it's how long do you feel like you have to repeat something before you've got it? And what's the best way to learn it, right? Because we all know we learn differently. So when I teach like a motor task, and it might actually be the motor task of cooking something or whatever, sometimes it's 10 repetitions to get it into that long-term memory. So everybody's different. It's just wherever you are on that. And we do a go, plan, do, and review model a lot of times, where you think about how you're going to initiate it, what's the plan, what are the steps you need for it, and then how are you going to actually do it, carry it out. And then the review part is where you kind of think, well, was that successful? Did it work very good? If it didn't, then you go back and you revise, And that's a real cognitive-based way to look at executive functioning skills, and it works pretty well. but sometimes it's not the best way. So what I do sometimes is I do video modeling. Have you guys heard that term very much? So that would be where if, say, I wanted to teach a kid or somebody how to tie a shoe, that's a really hard thing to learn. But just as a simple example, I would video that, and then I would have them watch it, and then they would practice it. I might video them doing it in a slow manner or something like that. But if you, and I would pair the auditory with it so that you would be more successful. There's a lot of strategies out there for executive functioning. You know, for driving directions, I don't know where we'd be without the map apps because those are so helpful. And making lists works pretty well. Do you guys use anything like that already at home? Okay. And do you have special ones you like that you want to share with anybody else?
Well, I guess just as a strategy for my job has a lot of task-oriented stuff that has to be done in a certain way.
Gotcha.
You know, to make things work. So I use my Outlook calendar.
Okay.
With my work, you know, and I just put on my calendar like on Mondays I have to take a piece of paperwork over to an office. So that's on my calendar every Monday at 10:30 a.m. So it pops up.
Nice. Yeah.
Because if I don't do that, I haven't forgot it, but
yeah.
sometimes it's the day before it needs to be done, and I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't put that in. So I use
That's great.
calendar,
yeah.
the pop-up feature that
sure.
says like, you need to deliver this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really good. We have, this is just a folder system that I've done. And it's get ready, what are the things I need to get ready? Sometimes I have to organize myself like this, just because that's what works the best. So I'll say, what do I need to get ready? Okay, this is the do part. These are the steps I need to do. And then, oh, is it finished? Okay, great. And then when it's finished, it's done, right? And it does feel good to do a little check off with that. The other things you can do is set up alerts on your phone. You can have Siri, you know, tell you things. It works really good. Here's some executive functioning apps that, this one is just a fun one to assess attention, and it's a game related that you can play. Mind mapping is like the webbing when you have, say you have to make, you know, you want to write some things down, or you need to write a project, and you know you have that first part of it about, like, say, going on vacation. Okay, well, what are the options? So you might do a map of it. And there's a software program additional to this. It kind of makes it into a web design, so you can put your ideas there. And one of them is called Inspiration, and it works pretty well for that. Absolutely. Do you want to do it now? It's okay. Oh, the slide before. Yep. You betcha. I use a lot of color coding too to help organize myself and others. It's pretty much whatever works. So how's handwriting and that kind of stuff? Do you guys have a hard time with writing stuff, or do you type fine? Everything's great. There's some different things that you can do, different apps. You can get, if there's any issues with that, there's assistive technology that you could contact per state that can help you with that. And those people are just brilliant with what they know. So those resources are for you. And then they have some financing options as well. So I put those in there. And you guys will have this whole PowerPoint online too. You can get it as well. And then keyboarding, being able to type efficiently is always helpful. So that's for that. And then, does anybody use Dragon Speak, where you do speech to text, where you can type in? And have you tried? Yeah. Okay. It's not too bad. I mean, you have to articulate pretty well what you want to do, and then you have to actually do a pause, because if you do this run-on sentence, it's just going for like 4 paragraphs. So it takes some learning to do, but it's actually pretty good. And you can go on think it's Google, yeah, and you can just click, you can get on Google, right, and open up on a Google Drive and click on the microphone and then speak it. And sometimes, you know, that's nicer to get your thoughts out if that works too. So just thought I'd open those. Yes, ma'am.
There's also a thing called LiveScribe.
Yeah, I've got that in there. Yeah, definitely. We'll talk about that too. There's some reading supports too. Now, Capti is a thing. It's an app that they just designed, and you can pretty much take anything and make it auditory. Anything at all. So it could be, it kind of makes it into a podcast for you. So that's, there's a YouTube on it as well. So that's a pretty good one. I don't know if you're familiar with, and it's available on iOS and Android and your computer. So either way. We use sometimes with spelling, if spelling's an issue, we'll use Co-Writer, and that'll give you word prediction to be able to predict the spelling, the words that you generally use if you type them in and that kind of stuff. And Grammarly does that as well. So Sketch is a nice one that I use, and TeachMate. Those are visual apps that you can take a picture of, say, how you want something to be organized. And then you'll have the picture on your iPhone or your computer. And then you can circle the key things, like say you want to organize your spices, but you always forget what they look like, you know, how it looks like when it's organized. You could do that and take a picture of it when it's organized, and then I always forget to put things back in the same spot. Does anybody else do that? Okay, so then I have a daughter that comes over and she's really good about that, but I am not. And so then I need to take a picture of it, right? So, oh, this is where this belongs, this is where it goes. And then on my picture, I can circle, oh, I always seem to forget the oregano. It doesn't go up here in this corner, it goes down here. And you can actually cue yourself. You could even put a picture by the cupboard where it is so you know what it looks like. And I've done that as well. Here's some more apps for you guys that work really well. Different things like that for you. Do you guys want to take pictures? You bet. And then here's the cool smart pens that, and have you used that smart pen yourself? Yeah, everybody? Oh, you do. Do you want to share anything about it? Or? You bet.
Actually, I was able to get a grant from my school's services office to get the smart pen.
Mm-hmm.
Available. It was really helpful for me when I was able to record lectures in school.
Nice.
I had the notebooks too that went along with the pen, and had the technology.
Ah.
So that later on, when I go to the lecture from my pen, get a PDF of all my notes on the
Oh, nice.
and the auditory, I could just place my pen on a certain spot in the notebook and play that part of the lecture, and I can go over the lecture in my own time, or
Great.
a certain part of the recording to get anything that I missed. Those are very useful.
Wow, that's great. That's awesome. They have another one too that's 142 hours, and that's just a YouTube video, but they're very cool, definitely. So some visual spatial organization strategies. You know, we talked about labeling. I always talk myself through tasks. I don't know if you guys do that, but that helps. Practice it. You know, if I do a video, if I'm working with someone and we take a video, I can't expect that person would be able to look at the video and remember what we did. So I will have them practice it immediately because that's really helpful. There's an app, Remember the Milk app, that works really good. So those are just some extra ones. And sometimes, you know, I don't know if it's easier for you guys. It's probably individual based to learn things part to whole, or is it better to learn the whole thing? everybody's different, so you might just want to see what's best for you, you know. And then once you know that, you know how you need to teach yourself things as well. So these are just, again, some of the sensory things that we work on as well, kind of in order. And in terms of health and wellness, one of the things, you know, spending time with friends, some leisure activities. Restorative yoga is really good to help calm and get your stress level down if you need to. Tai Chi is a really nice calming exercise that you can do. And then there's all the strategies about mindfulness as well, and being able to, you know, get in your quiet place, whatever that is for you, and do that kind of thing, and crafts and hobbies as well, and just whatever you're passionate about. I mean, I think that sends the good brain chemistry to our brain, which is what we need to do overall. And they wanted me to talk about osteoporosis, so I'll go through that really quick. It's basically, you want to do some aerobic exercise with moderate intensity and resistance training to build strength. And the reason behind it is for balance training to reduce the risk of falls as you get older. And that's one of the biggest ones. So we always, you want to keep active if you can. My mother and father moved in with me, and my mom's 81, and she falls a lot. And so it's made me really appreciate this, that we should have done this years ago. You know, because it's a little hard when you're at 80 and trying to do that. So those are some things that you can do. Just keep, and I texted my kids and I said, we should all keep moving. You know, so I think when you get sedentary is when that happens as well. These are some exercises, things that you can do: dancing, swimming, tennis. The Wii has some great things: walking, water aerobics, those kind of things. And then they say they want you to do 30 minutes a day, 5 times per week, but that might be unrealistic to everybody's schedule, so being able to, 2 to 3 times a week might be good. And then this, some people were asking about the TheraBand, and are you guys familiar with that, those stretchy bands? So you can get them on Amazon or through a therapist if you work with them, or an athletic trainer. And what I would recommend is yellow or red are the easiest, and you can start with that. And so they're based on resistance. So you wouldn't want to get like the blue color or the black color, because you can hardly move those. And that's contraindicated with turners. So the green would be the most, the highest level that I would go up on. And then you can work with a trainer or physical therapist or occupational therapist to help you with that. Balance exercises, squats, leg raises, those kind of things. And my daughter said, you should talk about this. Eating, you want to eat vitamin D, things like lean meats, fish, legumes, eggs, vegetables, fruit and dairy, calcium and protein, because that'll help keep your bone growth really good. And when you get older, you have to think about these things. I don't know if you have to think about it now, but it's always good to have it in the back of your head if you need to think about putting bars in the bathroom or just the non-skid rubber mats. Most of the falls when you get older occur in the bathroom, like 90%. So if your bathroom is hooked up, you'll be good to go. Just when you get later. So Pilates is also a good thing to try, and we do a lot of that. And we work on alignment and those kind of things. And here's a video for you guys that's got some really calm, some nice, not resistive exercises, but it's just relaxation, but it also works on your core muscles too. So you might think as an adult to refer out to other professionals. Dietitian, registered nutritionists are really great for healthy eating recommendations. Psychologists for mental health, counselors, and they have executive functioning coaches now. And I would just, if that's anything you want to look at, just see if you work with them if that works for you. And then, of course, occupational therapy and physical therapists can help you with mobility and exercise, or personal trainers. And here's some books for you guys. This book is about, it's for adults with sensory sensitivities, and it has a really nice read, and it helps you kind of figure out where you are. Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? And you know what you can do about it. And this is another good one too. And this book is my favorite book on the planet. It is written by a neurologist, and she has a lot of patient stories about people that are on a lot of medicine, and they had increased stress levels, and they had that stress chemistry that we talked about that was always evident in their lives, and they couldn't do things, and how they used sensory and mindfulness strategies to calm down and reduce their medicine intake. So it's just a great book, and it's not too technical to read. It's actually really good, so I would recommend that. And I have that twice. And then this is another book about Georgia DeGangi is an occupational therapist, and it's about how you can become dysregulated as an adult from a sensory standpoint and what to do about that. And this is a really good book, and I think they have a DVD too, and it's written by a physician, how to do yoga and in a meaningful way that's not going to be bothersome. This lady, Sarah Ward, I don't know if you guys know about her. Have you heard about her at all? She's amazing, and she's a speech therapist. And she originated in Colorado, but she's back east now. She has a website, this efpractice.com. She does conferences, and she has amazing techniques that you can use to help with executive functioning. She does a lot of color coding. She uses a power clock to think about how you would start an activity, how you would, where do you need to be in the middle, where do you need to be at the end, and those kind of things. So, and there's more. This is a website for adults for sensory issues as well. And that's a video for you guys. So any questions or anything? Yeah, go ahead. Yep. I don't know your name.
You were saying there were helpful apps. Went through it real quick. What were the recommended apps?
Oh, I can, do you want me to put that back up for you so you can,
That'd be great.
you betcha. Let me get there. And are there any more questions? And, Yes, it will. Yeah. I'll put handouts with it too. I just need to send them to Sean. Yeah, definitely. Any other questions or anything? Mm-hmm.
I don't know if occupational therapy really helps with it or if it would be more at the APA office, but I was thinking more like making your work environment.
We can do that.
More comfortable,
Yeah.
I know that they have ergonomic chairs and stuff, but me, my legs still.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I find a lot of times I'm crossing my legs, I'm sitting in an awkward angle.
Yeah. Do you get numb feet?
Making those kind of things.
Yeah, you want to keep your knees, everything at 90-90 if you can. So if you are up here on a chair, what I would do is make sure that your hips are at 90, your elbows are at 90, and your knees are at 90. And this isn't so good for me because my feet are dangling. And so for you guys, you could do a footstool as well. Some, you want to look at your wrists, that they're not always in extension like this, because that'll cause numbness and you can get carpal tunnel. So you could actually, I think workplaces have to have someone do that assessment. They do. Yeah.
I mean, I worked with my office, but they, they're like, oh, we'll get this up as,
Oh, okay.
as far as you can. And I mean, it works, but it's not.
Yeah. The other.
So if I just, because I'm busy anyway, throughout the day, I'm like this.
Yeah.
And sit back and pretzel.
And look at this computer monitor too. If it's, once you need it to be at eye level, if it's not, put a phone book or something underneath it. look at that as well. Take frequent breaks, get up and walk around, and then come back. Did you have a question?
Can occupational therapy help with things like driving?
We do. There's occupational therapists that specialize in driving that are certified in it. And so we can work with you on that, and we can do your test and help you to drive.
We have
Just
time
have-
for one more question.
Yeah.
And you said you brought some gadgets.
Oh yeah, these ones. I just wanted to show these really quick. This is a thing you guys can come up and try. It it's called the EM Wave 2. And what it does is you can see it'll have a purple light right here. And when you do you put your finger on it, it will, on this part down here, it will tell you if you're stressed out. Look, I am. So, because I had to speak today, right? So, but look, it's going purple. So then it teaches you, right, to do mindfulness breathing, right? And breathe in and breathe out. And it's starting to go purple. So that is a really good thing. Now, sometimes when you have anxiety and you're like, I've got to calm down, I've got to calm down. When you see it to be red, you'll be really like, I can't look at this. So I'm going to pass that around, or you guys can come up and try it. There's, and it'll hook up to, they're easy to buy online. You can hook it up and hook it to your ear, and it'll just automatically take your autonomic nervous system function to see where you're at, okay? Another one is called PIP, and it's the same thing, but you have to pinch it, and then they all have apps that they work off of, so you could actually track your stress level. It's kind of interesting to just do it. Our workplace at Children's, it cracks me up. It's a very stressful environment, and they have these for the people that work there because we all get stressed out. So this is the same thing. It's called a PIP, and you can track yourself over time, right? And then if you're working with an occupational therapist or a psychologist, they can say, oh, well, what happened Wednesday? Man, you were off the charts, you know? And here's another one called Spire, and it gets charged right here. You actually put this part next to your skin, and it'll just, you can wear it like inside your bra or something like that, or on your belly. And then when you are stressed out, you'll get an alert on your phone, and it'll just say, breathe. Okay, so you bet. Thanks so much.
Any more questions? We want to say thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. It was so nice. You bet.